Pre-recorded from Joe's mom's basement, welcome to a Wednesday Rewind episode of the Stacking Benjamin Show. Hey everyone, I'm Griffin the Intern, or as the captain of my Tuesday night bowling league calls me, the Fintern. Joe and OG are out trying to return wrapping paper scraps to the store. There's frugal, but I'm not sure what this is. Insane? Probably, but if you know the show, there's no way you're surprised. But surprising for all of us, I was able to reach back into the Wayback Machine and find our episode from this time 5 years ago. It was called The Two Guys in Your Money Show back then, and had a little different feel, but it was the first year Joe did his What Did We Learn This Year episode, and I thought it'd be fun to have a look back on what we would have learned from 2013. Our guest was Human Resources Pro and big-time blogger Laurie Reuttiman. She'll share her best advice from that year, as will some of our favorite bloggers from around the personal finance space. As I mentioned, this episode is 5 years old, so disregard anything you hear about giveaways or investments. Fintern out.
Hey, welcome to the last episode of 2012. We got an awesome show for you today. Laurie Reuttiman from Punk Rock HR, formerly, and now from thecynicalgirl.com, joins us. She's going to talk about making money in 2013 and what we should have learned in the world of making money in 2012. Then we have a bunch of our blogger friends from around the internet. We thought this would be fun. We got them together to tell you their biggest learnings from 2012. That's the episode today. Can't wait. Live from my parents' festive New Year's basement. This is the Two Guys in Your Money Show. I'm Joe Salsihai, Average Joe, and with my partner in crime, the other guy, we operate a super secret financial website called The Free Financial Advisor, and that's where you'll find notes for our show. Send all emails to joe at thefreefinancialadvisor.com. And while mom and dad are having a party upstairs, we're partying in the basement.
I wanted to get one of those like noisemaker things that were like, you know, yeah.
We should just do that. Just
We're all going to sing Auld Lang Syne tonight before we sign off. Is that what's going to be in the after show?
No, you know the first thing we're going to... What's an after show?
I don't know.
The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hand people a free $50. How about that?
Hell yes.
Because this show is sponsored by ING Direct. No fees, no minimums, competitive interest, and $50 of free money for opening an account. Visit thefreefinancialadvisor.com, ING50 for details. And by the way, ING is changing their name. They were purchased by Capital One, so that's going to be a Capital One 360 account.
And it's still $50. So if you're a nincompoop and you still have not done the 5 seconds of work to put $10 into an account to get $50 in 50 days,
what are you waiting for?
You are a fool. Take your $50, man. It's $50.
Hey, speaking of fools, let's have some New Year's fun and talk back at 2012. Talk back at 2012? How about if
Can we look back at it?
2012, are you talking back to me?
What? Stop it.
Don't talk back to me. Yes.
I am your...
I'll tell you what, 2012, I'm over you. Instead, let's talk about CNN Money's dumbest moments of 2012, because you're going to love these. I want to avoid some of the easy ones, like the whole fiscal cliff thing about how Republicans and Democrats are... and hopefully, by the time this show airs, that's taken care of. But whether or not it's still...
Though.
What a train wreck.
I don't think so. I don't know. I saw in the news yesterday. We're obviously recording this a little early, but I saw in the news yesterday the House has recessed for the break. They're all home.
It is fantastic, and we'll skip things like Facebook, the Facebook IPO. But I've got 10 good ones that are just fantastic. That are
stupid things from 2012.
Yeah, these are Joe's favorite 10 of the CNN Money Top 30. So my number 10 is the Apple Maps. Do you use Apple Maps?
Hells no.
Apple Maps. They released that with the new iPhone 5. And
Right.
they have maps going nowhere.
And Google just released their Google Maps, and it was the number one download on the Apple Store. So that ought to tell you something.
My number 9, Yahoo CEO Scott Thompson. You know, it's okay to say that maybe you took a few computer science courses,
Right.
but when you decide to say computer science major on your resume, that might get you in trouble.
My degree is in computer science, or not, but
Yeah,
I
might
should
have
still be
just
CEO.
been accounting. And if you said accounting, you might have been okay. Initially, that made Yahoo look really silly because who doesn't vet their CEO?
I know.
I mean, if you're going to have a guy run your company, don't you think you'd look at his resume?
Yeah, but what kind of idiot is going to just completely fabricate? Like, maybe it's just the problem was like he screwed it up like day one when he first got to Yahoo. He kind of embellished it a little bit. And then as he kept on getting promoted, they just kept on using the same resume. And finally he's like, oh, crap, now what am I going to do?
What do I say? When do I bring this up?
Yeah, when do I bring it up?
Right.
You shouldn't have done it in the first place, idiot.
That ended up being better for Yahoo anyway, getting Marissa Mayer from Google.
Oh, yeah.
That ended up being a better deal for them, I think. I mean, the proof will be coming, right? How about the time earlier this year when Google decided, and actually it wasn't Google, it was somebody at R.R. Donnelley, accidentally pressed the go ahead and send out the financial report 4 hours early. That created a problem. And in fact, there was this big spot in the report that had this big all caps where it said
The pending CEO approval or something like that?
pending CEO approval or something like that, or waiting for his
Waiting for his sign-off or something like that.
Waiting for the boilerplate message. Of course, then Twitter is all kinds of boilerplate messages that should have gone there, like somehow I'll find a way to blame this on Apple Maps. Or, you know, the problems everybody has with Google and Facebook and privacy and all this stuff. Man, our privacy was way violated today. And how about this as a comment from Google CEO? Well, to be fair, we released earnings yesterday afternoon on Google Plus, but nobody noticed. My number 6 on their list of the 10 dumbest moments from 2012 in business. Listen to this one, OG. Kraft spun off their snack division and called it Mondelez. And Monde, which is Latin for world, and Delize was short for delicious. How much money do you think they paid some firm, right, to come up with that kind of name?
I'm going to say about $1.5 million too much.
Yeah.
What's wrong with calling it Kraft Snacks?
And doesn't it take forever for them to come up with a name? Well, they came up with this name, Mondelez. First half world, second half short for delicious. It turns out it's also pretty close to a Russian phrase describing a sex act.
Nice.
Luckily, there's Kraft Snacks Mondelez, which they kept the name, has they're not using it in any packaging. It's just the umbrella name. So we don't have to get that embarrassment anymore.
So I should ask my wife tonight if she wants to Mondelez.
I don't even know what.
And when she goes, what's that mean? I'm like, it's mean to have an Oreo. Jeez.
Yeah. Hey, come on.
Easy, cowboy.
Right.
I haven't seen this stuff, but the fact it sounds like I must be doing pretty good if you're cracking up.
Oh goodness. And as you might be able to tell, I've got quite a cold going on here, OG.
Wow.
Hold
on, let me get the world's tiniest violin player for you.
Thank you. You've heard of buy low, sell high, of course.
Yeah.
We've all heard of buy low, sell high. Somebody should have taught Zynga buy low, sell high instead of why don't we buy the really hot, hyped product at the one time when everybody's playing it, maybe 3 weeks before everybody in the world stops playing it.
Right.
Zynga bought Draw Something this year, and so far has lost, $96 million, according to CNN Money.
Why in the heck don't you and I come up with some very short-term trendy app?
And just dump it. I've got a good app coming up for you. This one's great. But before we get to that, in fact, that one, getting into that world, KitchenAid had a PR nightmare this year. During one of the debates, somebody from KitchenAid got on Twitter and wrote, Obama's grandma even knew it was going to be bad. She died 3 days before he became president.
Wow.
You can't take that stuff back.
Wow.
Yeah. That
Unsend. Unsend.
Yeah.
It's like the commercial where the dude runs around and smashes everybody's computers after he hits reply to all. Once it goes on Twitter,
it is gone. I think somebody probably lost their job on that one. Speaking of lost their job, Best Buy said this employee lost their job. Customer Rick Dewberry this year dropped off his phone for service at Best Buy and accidentally left his Facebook app open, OG. So this employee, who was a little bored, wrote this on his Facebook status: "I am gay, I'm coming out." And Mr. Dewberry, who is straight, had some explaining to do about the fact that he is not personally gay and was not coming out. Best Buy originally said that they'd fired the employee, and then Best Buy corporate got involved and said no comment, according once again to CNN Money here. But you'd think that Best Buy, with all just the horrible press they've had lately and how they're just
terrible, right?
they're getting beaten up nonstop, how can they let that happen? Or at least not handle it better?
Because it's a 19-year-old.
Well, that's true.
That's what it is. It's a 19-year-old who just got a hold of some dude's phone.
Well, hopefully this one wasn't a 19-year-old, but it's the kind of thing that my 17-year-old would do. Microsoft agreed in 2009 to let users choose which browser in Europe that they would use. They agreed with the EU to a settlement saying that they would put something on all of their new computer operating systems that said that you can choose which browser you want. Well, when they sent out the new stuff, whoever was in charge of that forgot to actually give people that choice. Big news in 2012. That ended up being $7 billion the EU is looking for in fines, and they're currently negotiating how much that's going to be for violating that.
Stupid is as stupid does, I guess, huh?
It just gets dumber. Listen to this one. On the political campaign, somebody from the Romney campaign had the great idea of let's make an iPhone app. So they created this great app.
Oh, money.
Where you where you could take pictures of yourself with campaign slogans and Go America and things like that. Well, here was the best one. This was their best phrase. Below your picture, you had a phrase that said, a better AMERCIA.
America.
A better Mercia. Somebody needed to do a little spell check before they released the app. Yeah. Just a couple more here. Actually, this is the last one. And this is, by the way, my favorite one. This is the only one on this whole list I told my wife about, OG, because this is awesome. So the new iPad mini was coming out in 2012.
Right.
Dock worker gets the awesome idea, let's steal a pallet of these babies, right?
Hell yes.
A pallet of those things is worth, reported, according to this story, about $1 million.
Say about $1 million, right?
And he actually stole them. But you know how they found him? They found him because all afternoon before the shipment came on, there was one guy walking around the docks at JFK going, when's the shipment of iPad minis coming in and where can I get a forklift?
Gotta send somebody else out there, maybe.
You can't make that up.
You gotta. If you have that idea, you have to be the mastermind, like the puppet master from behind the scenes, don't you?
You don't want to be the same guy. The same guy coming up with the idea shouldn't be the same guy who's driving the forklift.
No, not in any heist, anyway. I mean, look at Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to work it. I'm sad 2012 is over because we won't have any more of these to put 2012 on.
This is Jay Money from Budgets Are Sexy, and you're listening to Two Guys and Your Money.
Well, I'm really excited, OG. We have, joining us in the basement, Laurie Reuttiman. You and I later on, we're going to talk about protecting your money, but Laurie's an expert in the world of making money. So how about that, in the world of work? Let's talk about work in 2012 and in what she expects for 2013.
Yeah.
Well, to call Laurie Reuttiman a human dynamo, I think would be an understatement. She created and retired the popular website Punk Rock HR. She's an advocate for great work environments, helps individuals focus on the right skills to get hired, and often, which you're going to find out here, has views that aren't exactly what you'd expect. Currently, you'll find her at thecynicalgirl.com, among, of course, about 1,000 other places. Laurie, welcome to the basement. In the late 1990s, this guy, management guru Tom Peters, said that we were going into this free agent nation, right? Where we're no longer beholden to big companies and we shouldn't even think about working forever with one firm. Yet in a 2011 interview, you said that still wasn't the case yet, and there are great jobs out there for people looking long-term. So here it is now, end of 2012. Are we there now? Is it now a free agent free-for-all?
God, I hope not. So first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I
Sure.
really appreciate it. It's nice to meet you and your listeners. And I will tell you that free agency is still one of the most depressing aspects of our whole employment landscape out there. Most people who are in a free agency perspective are people who have burnt out from all of their opportunities and have leveraged all their relationships, and for some reason, whatever reason that is, cannot get hired into a full-time role. And I think, Tom Peters has a really interesting perspective, but he's also a successful, wealthy, upper middle class, some would say rich white man, right? And for the average person out there, we work for benefits. We work for a 401k. We work for health insurance. And even with some of the changes to the Obamacare law, that concept of free agency, even if we wanted it, even if we think it's great, is still 10 to 15 years away. Our economy can't sustain it. People need help with the basic infrastructure in life. And that is, fortunately or not, still what work offers many of us.
So you're also saying there, though, that free agency can offer that. Is that because it's cost prohibitive or it's time prohibitive? It's too hard running your own business and trying to come up with your own benefits?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. As a woman who has her own portfolio career, I can do this because of the benefits that my husband has from his job in full-time employment. For me to think about running a business as a sole proprietor, becoming insured, making sure that if I trip and fall in my house, at the very least, I have some coverage on that, and then doing business development and then actually delivering the work is so unrealistic at this point. It's incredible. So there are some organizations out there that are trying to make this a little bit more realistic. There are associations. There are even temp agencies like Kelly Services and Manpower that try to offer professionals who want to have more portfolio-based assignments, some infrastructure, right? There are guilds out there, of course. But for the average person who's raising a family, you've got your brat kids, you've got to take them to the doctor, the minivan needs an oil change. Right. Thinking about doing all of that work in your normal life and trying to be interesting and witty and going to a Chamber of Commerce mixer is ridiculous. And frankly, it's not worth it. So what I've seen from my perspective are a lot of people who have gone out of the workforce and have not returned. What they're doing is they're spending less money. They've made a decision to go bankrupt. They foreclosed on their home and they said, you know what, this time around, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to spend less, consume less, and live off of less money. So maybe that means part-time employment, or maybe that means going back to school and working as a teacher. But it's something different because the old way of working will not do for them.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that, jives with what government statistics are telling us right now too, right? Which is that more and more people are just quitting looking for that next thing. I'm thinking about college kids out there now, Laurie. We have more and more people chasing less and less jobs. What should they be looking at now that maybe they didn't need as much a year ago?
Right. So, there are 3 million unfilled technical jobs out there right now that are just sitting out there. And so I think if you're someone who has a love of English or creative writing like I did, forget about that and become an engineer, right? Or school and become a doctor or do something technical. Specialize in a field of science. Even if you're not someone who's very good at science, there is a role for someone who's creative and has a little bit of interest in a scientific field. So I like pushing people down those career paths instead of saying, get your liberal arts degree, have $50,000 worth of student debt. And oh, by the way, when you get out of college, you're going to struggle to find a $15 an hour job. Forget it. Go be a radiation technologist. Go work in healthcare. Do the things that are actually in demand out there. And it's not that hard to find out. You can go to Fast Company. You can go to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. You can see some of the jobs out there that are trending and tough to fill. For example, being a dental hygienist. That's an in-demand job right now. So maybe you love art. Guess what? You're probably going to love paying a mortgage a little bit more. So go be a dental hygienist. Love art in your spare time.
Or get artistic with people's teeth,
Yeah, no.
So has the world changed much in 2012? We wanted to have you on today specifically, as you know, because it's December 31st episode. Did the world change a lot in 2012 in the workplace, in your view?
No, I don't think so. I think there's still a lot of myths in the workplace that we've been fighting for the past 5 years or 10 years. For example, you have to be engaged. You have to follow your passion. You have to love what you do. Those are all myths, and they're all really snobby and unrealistic. And yet we hear them every day, right? If you do what you love, the money will follow. Well, guess what? That's not how adulthood happens. And the other myth out there is you have to be fully engaged in your job in order to do a good job. And I think that's totally wrong. There's no real scientific data that proves that. Gallup will tell you that, but Gallup has a reason to tell you that. They're in the survey business, right? They want to survey employee sentiments.
Right.
From my perspective, there's been no long-term reliable study on happiness and engagement and productivity. So if you hear that at work, you're going to have to put up with that in 2012. You're going to have to put up with that in 2013. That kind of thinking isn't going away. And the only thing that changes is that if you're financially insecure, you have to play along with that nonsense for a little while longer until you figure out your life plan.
Yeah, what about those people that think they have figured out their life plan and they're willing to take a job that doesn't necessarily engage them, as you say, but they can't find the job out there? Then is free agency a good way for them to go?
Well, I'm going to tell you, any job is a good job for a lot of people. And I've had this conversation with many long-term unemployed professionals who won't, and for a lot of reasons, won't go work a temp job, right, in a customer service department because there's a cost-benefit analysis that they do. They're on unemployment, or they feel like their time is better spent full-time networking. I always believe that any job is better than no job. So even if you're earning $10 an hour in customer service and you have a background in marketing, being part of the labor pool, whether you're a temp or you're on your own or a full-time employee, has so many benefits. You're developing a network, you're keeping your skills fresh, and you're fighting against what I think is something that's very prevalent in our society, which is discrimination against the unemployed. So if you have a job, you're more than likely to find another job. And so I tell people all the time, just get something under your belt, do it. And you don't need to be a rock star, right? So you're out there, you're working in customer service, you're working retail, do the best you can, have a work ethic, but you don't have to give your heart and soul to that. And then go try to find full-time employment if that's what you need.
Yeah, that's interesting because you do seem a lot hotter, man. If you're working right now, companies just eat that up.
Ridiculous. And it's also inaccurate because you may be working because somebody hasn't had the gall to fire you yet, right? You may be at the bottom of the bell curve. There are a lot of people who work who are awful and they're considered passive candidates, right? They're not looking. They're not looking because they have a really sweet gig. Nobody's up their butt trying to tell them to do any better. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions about the way people work and why they're working.
We're speaking with HR guru Laurie Reuttiman. And Laurie, my question, if somebody is working in a job where they're not passionate about, what are some of the techniques then? If you say that that's not the way that adulthood works, what are some of the techniques people use to get through it, to make it exciting for them? I mean, is there a way to make it exciting, or is it just paying the bills is excitement enough?
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you a story. In 1995, I took a job as a human resources assistant because I was in college and faced with the fact that I was about to graduate with $50,000 in student loans. And I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a teacher. And so I was stuck in this weird creative space where I have this awesome degree in English and absolutely no skills. So I took this job in human resources and I hated it. I hated it all the way through 2007. But what I did in my spare time is I developed some hobbies. So I did animal rescue. I learned, I took up running, for example. A lot of people have children and dedicate themselves to their children. But another thing that I did, I swear to God, it makes so much sense now, but at the time I thought I was playing around. I started blogging. And from there, I was opening myself up to a new world of social media and people online who were either in human resources or really struggling with the HR people that they work with on a day in, day out basis. And it really inspired me to write and to speak and to do things in my free time that have led me to being able to support myself as this crazy woman that I am right now with a million different careers who travels around the world and talks about work, money, power, and politics. So I think developing a hobby, not for the fact that you want to get a job out of it, but developing a hobby so that you're a well-rounded person can lead to all different kinds of experiences that you can't even imagine. Had I known that blogging would be a full-time job for me 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you. I would have said, that's not realistic. There's no data out there to support that. But honest to God, I am supporting myself today through my writing and my speaking. It's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah, that is very wild. Looking into your crystal ball for 2013, what tools should be on our mind more next year than maybe even this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've seen the recent numbers about how much debt that people carry in their personal lives. So I think at the very beginning of the year, this is something that I always commit myself to doing. I really try to understand, okay, how am I spending my money and where's it going through budgets? Because most of us are too stupid to live to a budget, right? But for me, I know where every dollar I'm spending is going because that's a dollar I have to earn and to make up. So just get a little on your basic financial life and understand why you're working. It's one of the single most important things that you can do at the beginning of the year. And do you know how few people understand truly how much they earn? Because they don't understand, okay, I spend $500 a year at Starbucks and I'm going to the dry cleaner and I'm doing all these crazy things. And it starts to, erode the quality of life. And if you hate your job so much that you would do anything to get out of it, beginning of the year offers a really good timeline. Take advantage of some online tools and really get a hold of your financial portfolio.
Yeah, that's some great advice. So here's my last question. You always have 5 million things going on. What's up next for Laurie Reuttiman?
Well, that's a good question. I am planning on taking some time off in the first quarter and really focusing on writing. So normally people would see me on the road at media conferences or doing some mainstream media. I'm tamping that down because I realize that when you have a million things on your plate, you don't do any of them well. So I'm really focused on writing in the first quarter. So that's what I'll be doing.
That sounds like fun, especially when it's a little colder outside.
That's right. I'm in North Carolina, so we have pretty mild winters. So I like it down here.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite regions. We tried to move there at one point. Speaking of, on a whole different topic, I'm an English major too.
Yeah, good luck with that.
16 years as a financial planner, which, by the way, Laurie, I became a financial planner because I was an English major.
That's right. You know what? You need it. You need those skills. That's for sure. They don't teach that in British Literature 101.
That's right. As fascinating as it is. Well, thanks for being on the show today, Laurie. It was really fun getting your look into 2013 and 2012.
Dude, anytime. And thanks again and Happy New Year.
Thanks. You too. Hey, OG, you know what the best gift you can give yourself in 2013 is going to be?
One of those new McLaren P1s that I saw on TV the other day.
Either that or what PK is going to talk about during his final segment of 2012 here. Let's give it a listen.
Okay.
Happy end of the year, my friends. Are you all as surprised as me that the whole 2012 end of the world thing didn't pan out? Let me elaborate. I'm not surprised at all, but I think you knew that. Welcome to the special end of the year episode where I give you a tour of mementos from my corner of the basement and talk to you a little bit about what we learned. So settle in. You're going to get an inside look at the things we've learned here in 2012. And for starters, let's address the elephant in the room, or if you're in the mood for political jokes, the elephants who are conspicuously absent from the room. Billions upon billions of dollars were spent in the recent American elections for what roughly amounted to a stalemate. That's right. Continued Democratic control of the Senate, continued Republican control of the House, and Democratic control of the executive branch. We learned during that whole scenario that the rumblings about polling were, at least this year, just rumblings. Turn back the clock just a few weeks, and you can find the segment that I did on that. When this segment, Fractional Sense, first started, we hadn't yet made our way down to the basement, and we were part of a show which shall remain unnamed. Still, about a third of our 43 episodes were produced for the old show, so there are some true gems in the archives. For example, the 3-account method, the segment which started it all, is one that I'm particularly fond of. And if you're looking for an easy way to automate your funds, try my method, which entails just 2 checking accounts and a savings account. I'm also particularly proud of my segment on loyalty and how, at least when it comes to services, it pays not to have any. Of course, that isn't meant to be taken as marriage advice, but certainly cheating on your cell phone company is only going to help you. That's right, date and switch up frequently with your services, because loyalty only deflates your wallet. In the new show, we started off with a bang, talking about a Federal Reserve release on income during the recent recession, and followed up with a piece on the ideal savings rate. You know you've got to put those episodes in your iPod for any remaining holiday travel that you've got. And more recently, how could I forget my, in my humble opinion, hilarious piece on what is really scary during Halloween? Or, how about my piece on James Bond? He may be English, but my Irish side will let that episode slide. When it boils down to it, who am I kidding? Every past episode is worthy of another listen. We had not one, but 2 panelists. That's right, Joe and Dom both unmask themselves and go public with their identities. OG and myself, PK, of course, remain pseudo-anonymous 2-letter acronyms. That doesn't change the fact that it was a hard-hitting year. So go, get your iPod, and load it up with 2 Guys in Your Money episodes. You know how when you go to the gym in the new year and there are millions of new faces just coming off their New Year's resolution? I'd be shocked, absolutely floored in fact, if you couldn't pick up at least 3 actionable ideas from listening to our brilliant panelists over the last year. Easy things that will in no time become habits so you can check off your own resolutions. You know, we're a smart group, so steal our ideas. Here's to a happy 2013 and the continued growth of our listenership and your wallets.
This is Steve Stewart from the Money Plan SOS podcast. You're listening to 2 Guys and Your Money. Shaken, not stirred.
Do you think PK's got the right idea? I think the best thing to do is load up your iPod with old episodes of 2 Guys and Your Money.
Everybody's getting iPods, iPads, Kindles, minis, MP3 players, computers,
Don't
all
rot
sorts
your
of medium.
Don't rot your brain with those other podcasts.
What other podcast?
That is the point exactly, OG. Oh,
I'd like to get. Do you think we can get like 8 downloads this week?
have Mom get the whole knitting club. I got a great idea. Speaking of that,
Knitting. I will take a sweater.
let's give something away. We're not going to give away a sweater, but at the end of, holy cow, OG, at the end of today, we're going to be giving away a copy of the book Mommy Millionaire. Have you ever thought about ways to earn more money, OG?
Have I? Every minute of every day. That's all I think about, actually. Well, that's not true.
That's the second
Every other
most
minute.
common thing you think about. Right. Our giveaway is super easy to enter. We play a clip from a prior show. You tell us who you're listening to by heading to our giveaway page at thefreefinancialadvisor.com/December. You can only get in this contest if you enter today, which is December 31st, 2012. And all you have to do to enter is tell us who this is.
I can assure you I'm not working for the government ever.
Well, hopefully that was fairly easy. I know it was easy for OG to cheat this month and listen to who that was. So,
Rico. Suave.
well, you were complaining about the fact that
Rich and smooth, baby. Rich and smooth.
oh, it stinks so bad down here. We spent so much time early in the month talking about me and the whole who I really am that I thought we had to give you your moment in the sun. So there you go.
Okay.
And now we know who Rico Suave really is. So take your answer to thefreefinancialadvisor.com/December. And when the ball in Times Square hits the bottom, we're going to pick our finalists for the coin flip, which will be on our next show. 2 other ways you can enter today. You can tweet about the contest or the show, and you can also become a Facebook friend. And if you already are a Facebook friend, just head over to the contest page and click that you are our Facebook friend, and that's an easy entry too.
This is Len Penzo, and I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm also cuckoo for Two Guys and Your Money, especially when they make me do the show naked.
Well, before we cover our earnings from last year, I asked a few of our friends from around the internet and our normal crew to give us their biggest lessons from 2012. So let's start with Ornella Gross. She's from the Moneylicious blog, OG.
Okay.
Ornella here from the Moneylicious blog. What should we have learned from 2012 about our financial picture, or your financial picture, my financial picture? Well, here's what we should have learned. Avoid mainstream media. For me, I have met too many people, worked with too many people who focus so much on what goes on with mainstream media. And while it's important to understand what is going on with our government in regards to the decisions that need to be made, things we need to vote on, how it could impact you and the economy. While all that's important, my question to people is, do you have a plan in place? A plan enough that you can make adjustments. A plan enough that you are able to take advantage of potential growth and other opportunities that could open up in front of you? Or are you just worried about what's going on right now that you forget to plan for your future and still be able to take into account what goes on today? It's a delicate balance, I find, but do avoid focusing on mainstream media with all the political talk. I heard way too much. And it just wasn't helping people. There were people who I would ask, how do you file your taxes? They couldn't answer me that question correctly, but yet they were able to tell me what was going on Fox News. Fine. But you need to know what goes on with your personal finances. So control what you can control. I find that to be one of the most important things, and that to me is one of the biggest lessons people should have learned from 2012.
Thanks for that. Now, how about Paula Pant from Afford Anything in the Wealth Fast podcast? Paula?
Hi there, this is Paula from AffordAnything.com, and I think the biggest financial lesson from 2012 can be seen when we look at the performance of the stock market over this past year. When the year began, the Dow Jones was at roughly 12,500. As we're ending the year, the Dow Jones is at about 13,000. If those numbers don't mean anything to you, don't worry about it. You don't have to be concerned with the numbers. What those numbers are saying is that the stock market hasn't moved very much. It's climbed upward slightly, and that's a good thing, but it hasn't made massive, tremendous gains. However, within the year, there were tons of fluctuations. Things went up, things went down, things went all around. That means that short-term investors, people who are only jumping into the market for a couple of months, or people who are trying to time the market, trying to figure out what week was hot and what week was not, hot or not, they subjected themselves to a lot of risk and may have lost money. And there's nothing wrong with losing money if you do it intelligently. Those things happen from time to time. But investing short-term puts you at a lot of risk. taking the long-term view, allows you to make money, as people who stayed in for all of 2012 did, allows you to make money while not panicking about all of these little short-term fluctuations and not exposing yourself to the volatility and the risk that being in it just for the short haul exposes you to. Anyway, the big lesson here is be in it for the long haul. I think if you look at what happened in the stock market this year, that really, really illustrates the point. Thanks, Average Joe, for letting me talk your ear off for a couple seconds. This is Paula from AffordAnything.com. Have a Happy New Year's.
Well, those are some fantastic thoughts about 2012. What about Barb Freeberg from Oh, gee, I almost had her come from bobfriedberg.com. That's probably not the right site, is it?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But do you think her... never mind.
We'll say she's from barbarafriedberg.com.
Hi, Joe. Barb Friedberg here from barbarafriedbergpersonalfinance.com. Thanks for asking me about the financial lessons of 2012. I loved this question. But before I tell you what the lessons are, take a trip with me back in my time machine, where I go to Kiplinger's magazine back in 2011 and see what they had to say were the forecasts for the stock market in 2012. They said at Kiplinger's that the stock market would return about 8 or 9% this year. And guess what? They were wrong. The stock market, the S&P 500 in 2012 advanced almost double to about 15%. So what's the takeaway? The lesson is this. Don't listen to predictions. Nobody can predict the future. With regard to your investments, be systematic. Choose an asset allocation that's in line with your risk tolerance and your age. For example, if you're in your 30s or 40s and you can take some risk, put 60% in a stock index fund and 40% in a bond index fund, and then invest regularly. Over time, your wealth will grow. Don't worry about whether the market goes up or the market goes down or the economy is good or the economy is bad. Because if you try and jump in and jump out of the market whenever you hear a change or a different report on the news, you have to be right twice. Once going in, once going out. And then when do you go back in again? Just keep it simple. Keep investing through thick and thin, and your wealth will grow. Now go on. Have a Happy New Year. Bye.
And you know, this is the special one. You're going to get a kick out of this. Guess who else is going to tell us their lesson from 2012?
Hillary Clinton.
This is a good one. We asked, and she sent it, but the file was just horrible. I mean,
But she was really sick and wasn't able to make it.
No, I'll tell you the thing about Hillary is that she doesn't speak in public that much, so we couldn't use the clip. I mean, we might give her a few lessons on how to do more.
She had the flu and bumped her head right before she had to testify. I mean, right before she had to come on our podcast.
So this is a guy who has made the coin flip several times, a blogger.
Oh, it's that dude that always wins.
Always wins, but actually never wins. He always makes a coin flip, but he's only won a contest once. Lance
so
for
he's
money.
Always in the running.
Absolutely. Lance for Money, Life, and More. So, Lance, take it away, man.
I learned a pretty important lesson in 2012 about my financial picture. It might seem a bit counterintuitive, considering I feel like I do pretty good with my finances. I really wish I would have started earlier. You hear a lot of people saying that, but in reality, is it ever really too early to start? There were a couple key things in 2012 that really made me realize that this is what I learned about my financial picture. The first one is my side gig. I've been thinking about starting my side gig for quite a while, but I just really didn't think I could pull it off. I didn't think I could make money from it. It'd be fun, but it'd be a lot of work. Well, I'm really glad I started to put all that work in because it has succeeded beyond my wildest dreams so far. There's a lot I can still do to improve, and I'll still be putting a lot of hard work into it. But if I had just started it a year or two earlier, how much further would I be now? How much more successful would my business be right now if I had just started earlier? The other item that I really wish I had started earlier on this year is helping save money to pay off my girlfriend's student loans. We've been together for about 4 years and we'll be getting married hopefully sometime soon. She has this big student loan debt that scares her and myself a little bit. She owes about $60,000 and we really want to be able to pay that student loan debt off as soon as possible. So what I did this year was I set up a savings account just to put money in to pay off her student loans once we get married. If I'd started earlier, I can only imagine the extra money that would be in that account, because whenever I get some extra income, I just throw it in that account. It gets us that much closer to our goal of having her student loans paid off. It's a lot of money, but I think we might be able to do it next year. So take a lesson from me, and in 2013, start earlier. Start saving for retirement earlier. Start paying down your debt earlier. Start yesterday. It's the best time to start.
Awesome. Nice job, Lance, for his first time behind the mic, huh?
Sounded like $1 million. Sounds like he's got the voice of a velvet god.
There he is. Well, close. Maybe a demigod. You know, you and I are more on the god status.
Yeah, well.
And on that note, our good friend Dominique Brown from Your Finances Simplified. Dom?
Dominique Brown from YourFinancesSimplified.com. And like many of us, you're probably thinking about your financial picture for 2013. Some have looked at me for advice, and I got to tell you, I'm damn short on that commodity. You know, with the absence of progress on a fiscal cliff issue, no word on spending cuts, only a brief, talk about the euro crisis, it kind of makes any predictions very difficult. China's growth seems to be slowing, whatever that's supposed to mean. Japan is facing some financial problems on their economy, and over here in America, we're talking about possibly another round of quantitative easing. So how things will play out is difficult to determine with any degree of certainty. So what's the takeaway? What should we have learned from 2012 about our financial picture? Well, you should have learned that there will always be uncertainty. There will be no shortage of it in the news. That's how they make money. Nothing is exciting about how awesome things are. Nothing is exciting about telling people how great you are. People like a story. Think about it for a second. Would you watch a show or a movie if it was all sunshine and rainbows? So what can you do about it? Well, you can't stop things from happening around the world. Trust me, I have tried. Matter of fact, look at any Marvel or DC comic character. They have tried to stop stuff from happening in the world a lot, and it never happens. Now that we got the fact that you're not a cartoon or a superhero out the way, let's focus on what we can control, our personal economy. Do me a favor. Think of 3 achievable goals that you can accomplish in 2013. Write them down. Then break those 1-year goals down into monthly milestones. Then work towards those milestones. That's it. That's what you do. That's the takeaway. At the end of the day, there will always be uncertainty, but it's what you do in the face of it that matters.
Hey, OG, there's a few other people that are frequent contributors to the show that we have to thank for their help in 2012, and really excited to continue working with them in 2013. First of all, you hear his bass guitar all the time. That's MMD from My Money Design. Great bass guitar player, also a great blogger, so check out My Money Design. Also, we can't forget Dave Hilton, who does our announcer work on the show. Did just some great stuff. He not only is a disc jockey, he is a financial conflict coach, is the financial conflict coach. So make sure you check out his site. Thank you, Dave. Dave also has another site called Debt Black Hole, which is a awesome website about where geekery meets finance. And then our contributors who are usually on and for different reasons weren't able to help us today on the last episode. Carrie Smith from Careful Sense and just about everywhere else. Carrie, thank you very much for your help in 2012. Carrie's going to be back with us in 2 weeks, which is cool. Also, Dr. Dean from the Millionaire Nurse blog. Dr. Dean is running for Georgia State Senate.
That's pretty cool.
I know. We can say we knew him when. We knew him before he was state senator, Dr. Dean Burke. Finally, our joker himself in the center square, Mr. Len Penzo, who was super busy here and wasn't able to help on this last episode. But obviously we couldn't have done it without any of those guys this year. So big thanks to all of them. All right, it's that very special time, the time that everyone waits for in our shows. Our big top 5. And this week, it's your and my top 5 lessons that we learned in 2012. And 2012 was a big year. I mean, we went through some of that goofy stuff, but it was a wild year for the stock market, OG.
Some really good highs and some crappy lows, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like the market did pretty good, though.
The market did end up very well, despite what the media said. The other thing that was a trend this year was interest rates really never came up. A lot of people expected interest rates to start flying by now, and they're still down really low.
Not going anywhere. And I don't think it's going to, right? The U.S. government owes too much money, and every change in interest rates affects them just like it affects you and me. So hard road to hoe.
Well, speaking of a hard road to hoe, let's go through this hard road of our top 5.
Number 5. Who's going first? Me?
Yeah, take it on.
All right. So my top 5, my number 5 rather, is to invest in what you know. Make your life simpler. There's so much stuff going on. I appreciate that now as my kids continue to get older by the nanosecond, and our lives are busier and busier and busier. And gambling with your financial future by investing in things that you don't necessarily have any huge expertise in. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and he said, I want to start investing in rental real estate. And I said, oh, well, do you know anything about rental real estate? And he said, not a thing. And I said, well, me neither. So maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's stick with the things that we do know.
What was
Try
it
to make your life easier.
What was it about 2012 that brought that on?
Well, I think that it just there continues to be a focus on additional and alternative types of investing, just different things. I mean, you hear about it, the latest and greatest type of stuff at conferences or on CNBC or and I think everybody's looking for that silver bullet or the holy grail. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's great just to have a $10,000 or $100,000 stock position that's paying you 3.5% dividends, and off you go.
You're right. The hot thing seemed to swirl a lot more this year, didn't it? You'd hear gold, silver, real estate. I mean, everybody, you're right, seemed to be looking for the hot thing. And it was
like, what's going to be the one this year, or what's going to be the newest thing that's not out. So
yeah, there were a ton of them. My number 5 is don't base decisions on the government. We ended up with a big impasse the whole year long between Democrats and Republicans, and there was a constant struggle for what was actually going to happen. And still here, as we're taping a few days before the year end, OG, we're not sure what's going to happen. We think that this fiscal cliff is going to happen. PK thinks the fiscal cliff is overblown. Nobody really knows. But don't base your decisions on that. Base your decisions on what's happened, and make sure that you're set up for the worst while you hope for the best, right?
Right.
Number 4.
My number 4 is to stay your course. Whatever is the path that you're on, don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed by short-term fluctuations in price. Investors who had investments on January 1st, and barring any huge changes, people who had an S&P 500 fund on January 1st and who have it today and didn't do anything with it have been handsomely rewarded. It's been a really good year for the S&P.
Yeah, contrary to all the, what do you call it, all the financial pornography, that's on CNBC and all the financial stations. My number 4 is that education is a cost-benefit game. More than ever, OG. I mean, you saw at the start of the year and into last year, people really complaining, but I think the debate got really hot this year about student loan debt. People that went into college seem to believe that if they took on more debt and got more education, that would lead to a high-paying job. And in a lot of cases, that's true, but it's only true if you're in a major where there's a big need for work and you found ways to make yourself presentable. If you're in career field where there's not many people hiring, it's that student loan debt didn't mean anything. So I think more than ever, a big learning for me for 2012 is if you've got kids going to college, you need to sit them down and talk cost benefit before they go into college, not after.
And they need to know that underwater basket weaving is a noble profession, but it's not going to keep the lights on. And I think that unfortunately a lot of times, at least I see it as having clients that have college-age children. I see them say, well, little Johnny, he's going to focus on what he wants to focus on. We support him no matter what he wants to do. I've got a client that goes to school, a really high-end private school, and he's studying the equivalent of underwater basket weaving. And his parents are forking over $50,000 a year for him to go to school, and he's 2 years into it. He'll graduate in 4.5 years like everybody else with a degree in the equivalent of underwater basket weaving, and then he'll say, but now what, Mom? Now I owe $200,000, or, more interestingly, Mom and Dad have paid this, and now they're going to, he's going to live with them because there's no jobs in Japanese anime or whatever. I'm just making it up. But
I saw a lot of financial writers this year talk about discouraging people from going into those fields, and for me, I don't think that's the right approach. I think it's okay to have people follow their dream.
Right.
But the big thing, they have to know the economic reality before they get into it. So if
what's the plan?
Yeah, so if my daughter wants to be a underwater basket weaver, we have to sit down beforehand. I think it's my job. If I'm talking about being supportive as a parent, it is my job to sit down and talk about what the economic reality of that decision is going to be. What's that going to look like on the other end of the spectrum? And lots of great places for those statistics. The Department of Labor has a great
Bureau
database.
of Labor Statistics, BLS.gov.
Yeah, we'll show you everything from your chance of getting a job to the median income to everything.
Right. Yeah, we could talk about this for hours, I think.
Number 3.
My number 3 is similar to number 4. So my number 4 was stay the course. My number 3 is do your own thing and follow your own goals. So it's kind of counterintuitive to what I just said about the college thing. I'm talking mainly about investing. At some level, you have to realize that it's not all about what everybody else is doing. You got to do your own thing, and you got to follow your own stuff. I have a client who's a person I know very well who has beat the heck out of me for not buying Apple stock ever since September. Oh my gosh, it's down to $650. We should buy it. I'm like, nah, not yet. Oh my gosh, it's down to $600. We definitely should buy it now. It was $700 a week ago. Nope. The clients who have a position in, let's say, Apple, for example, didn't buy it when it was $700 because it was the cool thing to own. No matter what's going on, just do what's for you. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you and I are both big fans of well-known investor named Sir John Templeton. And what I loved about Templeton, and I know that you like too, OG, is that his basic philosophy was if everybody else is looking right, that means I automatically look left.
You're number 3.
I almost played it. Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah, thanks. My number 3 is that we went a full year with interest rates really low. But my number 3 is that cash reserves still matter. And it's sad because I was reading in the newspaper this morning about another factory laying off 650 people. And if you took some advice that I have seen over and over through the year about ways to spike your cash reserve or get higher rates, or your cash reserve is not about the interest rate. It's about making sure that your bases are covered so that you can invest money without worrying about it. And cash reserves, 2012, even in low interest rates, it still matters.
Number 2.
Isn't that wild how that sprung up on us? It's almost like I started playing it early.
It was like queued up.
I know.
So my number 2 is kind of like what you were saying before. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. So that's a Warren Buffett quote. Yours was from
Templeton.
John Templeton. You look at some of the asset classes that have performed well this year. You look at some of the individual positions that have performed well this year. and the ones that hadn't. And I think it's pretty interesting to look and see Apple stock, Facebook stock. Everybody wants Facebook. Everybody's greedy. Like, whoa. You know, and now in that Facebook it's down to like $18 a share. Everybody says the worst thing imaginable. You know, same thing with Apple, right? Hits $700, it's going to $1 million. This is a very anecdotal, unscientific approach. When people who you follow on Facebook or your friends on Facebook start posting pictures of stock performance, like if I would have put $10,000 in Apple in 2000, I'd have $600 million today. If I put it in Microsoft, I'd have 6,000 today. When that guy starts commenting about how awesome Apple stock is, because you know he didn't buy it in 2000, it's time to go.
My number 2 is markets aren't what you read. And if we look, like you said, at the S&P 500 this year, by any metric, the S&P 500 had a fantastic year. Unless something has happened in the last day or two of the year here, S&P 500 had a wonderful year. And yet, if you read the popular press, OG, that wasn't the case.
Their job is to sell advertising, right? And advertising in the newspaper and on television does not sell if you say, everything seems to be doing well, so
move on. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Fiscal cliff. The market volatility.
Somebody said to me once, they said, just imagine if financial writers were in charge of the elevator. And you got in the elevator and your only 2 choices instead of up or down were soar or plummet, right?
Those are funny. The ones, the market plummets 2.8 points. The Dow Jones soars on better than expected job news, up 13 points. You're like, come on, use a different adjective.
But you're right. On a boring day, they can't say, hey, why don't you go watch some reality TV and come back tomorrow? Advertisers tend not to like that.
As a point of reference, today the market's down 90 basis points. It's down 1% right now as we're recording this. And the market's still up 13.75% for the year. It's a great year. Great year of the market.
Number 1.
Woohoo! Hey, this is our last number 1 of the year. Happy New Year, OG.
Was the one right before this my last number 2 of the year too? God, you just like tee it up, man. I can't help it. I just can't help it. It has to be said. My number 1, while you compose yourself, is even when you're right, you can still be wrong. Which is my cryptic way of saying we knew going into the election that, well, I can't say we knew. I had a very sneaky suspicion that I knew what was going to happen depending on who won, right? And all of that played out, but we were off by a day on either end. When we made the investments Thursday after the election and then sold right before Thanksgiving, the net result was that we were even money. Even though during that period the market went down and we were trying to profit from the market going down. So we had an investment that was right. So we knew it was going to be right, but we were still wrong because the timing was off by half a day on either end. Add a trading cost on both ends of that. Bada boom, bada bing. You're even money. You didn't make anything. You wasted a lot of time and energy. So I guess that ties everything together for me is that sometimes you just got to stay the course, even if you think something short term is going to happen. Sometimes, you need to be a little counter the rest of the herd, like you were saying.
Or take a longer view.
Yeah, take a longer view. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to realize that sometimes you can be right and ultimately end up still being wrong, when it all shakes out. So that was a big learning for me this year.
Well, no, there was a lot of that in 2012. I mean, you could point to a lot of news and still have that same number 1 learning. My number 1 learning is that bad things can happen. And I'm certainly not referring to some of the horrible things like it's at Sandy Hook Elementary or the hurricane, but more the little things happen in my life, like my nephew who broke his arm, or my aunt who successfully beat cancer. Congratulations.
All right.
But overall, there's just a lot of things that you look at the world every day and there's so many things that can happen. My big learning this year, OG, is that protecting yourself still is an incredibly important part of your financial plan. And it's still the part we all want to forget. It's the part we don't want to talk about, making sure that everything from your estate in place to the disability coverage, making sure that when bad things happen that you're all set up. That's my big learning from 2012. All right, everybody. You made it through another episode of Two Guys and Your Money. And everybody who's new to the show, it's a little bit different episode, OG.
A little different today.
But still, I think we gave them the flavor. Whatever the hell that means. I don't know. But
it has to do with the a big clock.
Yes. To give you more of the flavor of the show, what you should expect from here on out is zero financial tips, because at this point on, we're all about movies.
It is movie time, isn't it?
We're recording this on your birthday.
Today is my birthday. Yep.
Happy birthday. What are you going to do on your birthday?
Well, I had a pretty awesome plan, actually, until I was alerted to the fact that everybody's half a day today at school. So when I'm done recording this, I hit end, and then I got to go pick up my kids. And so I think we're going to watch a lot of Curious George's Christmas.
Excellent. That's exactly what you're thinking. Well, this is the movie you're hoping to see right here. This is the brand new Tom Cruise movie, Jack Reacher.
There's this guy. He's the kind of cop. At least he used to be. He doesn't care about proof. He doesn't care about the law. He only cares about what's right. He knows what I did. You can't protect me. No one can.
That's the movie Jack Reacher. Sounds exciting.
Certainly a guy movie, right? I'd like to see that one. I want to see the This Is 40. I think would be kind of fun.
Oh, that looks hilarious. Paul Rudd, that dude cracks me up.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Now, on Jack Reacher, have you read any of those books? I know those come from a series of novels.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in fact, I was reading somebody, online. Of course, there's negative people everywhere that was upset about Tom Cruise, of course, being Jack Reacher. But without the novel reference, because I haven't read the novels either, man, he looks great.
Awkward.
What's awkward? Oh, that he looks great?
Oh, you mean in the movie?
Yes.
Like, as a cast for them. Okay.
No,
sorry.
Don't get me wrong. He looks like he's very handsome, too. But still, I think he just...
I hope I look that good at 50. You know he's 50.
Is he really?
Yeah. Tom Cruise is 50, man. No, I didn't know it was based on a book, although I suppose a lot of things are these days. It looks interesting. I kind of like those military-style whatever movies.
You do. So. You like the point where drama meets action.
Yeah.
I tend to like movies like this one. This is Silver Lining Playbook, which I saw this last week.
What? Hey. What's this?
Didn't tell me you took him out?
The court said yes.
Yeah, but what did the doctor say?
Can I do an interview for a school project on mental illness?
No.
I'm ready.
I feel motivated. I don't feel so angry all the time.
The whole time you're rooting for this Hemingway guy to survive the war and to be with the woman that he loves.
It's 4:00 in the morning, Pat.
I can't apologize. I will apologize on behalf of Ernest Hemingway, because that's who's to blame here.
Yeah, have Ernest Hemingway call us and apologize to us, too.
Pat, you have to have a strategy. I hate my illness, and I want to control it.
I hope you're okay with Veronica's sister coming over.
Tiffany and
that
Tommy.
Is
Tiffany. What happened to
Silver
Tommy?
Lining Playbook, and I saw that last week.
Kind of sounds funny. Is it a funny movie?
It is a funny movie in a dark way. It's about mental illness. It's Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. And, of course, you heard Robert De Niro there plays the dad.
Right, okay.
A lot of other actors and actresses you've heard of before. I went into this movie just seeing the fact that it got a good Rotten Tomato score. In fact, I am known in the little town I live in Texarkana as the guy that writes nasty letters. In fact, I got a couple dumb stories.
Dear Cable Company.
Yeah, we'll get into that one another day. Sometimes the town is so small, though, that our little Cinemark movie theater, won't name them by name, but they might be called something close to Cinemark, treats us like we are morons out here. And they only brought this great movie, this fantastic movie, for like 3 or 4 days. And I went and saw it, and the theater was full. I was in Dallas for something else, 3 hours away from home. The theater I was in was full of people. Everybody in that theater seemed to be totally into this movie. Just incredible. I come back here. You know what we've got?
Avengers.
Yeah, right. What's that? Kevin James movie? Lower the Boom, or Here Comes the Boom, or whatever. The one where he's a wrestler. He's an MMA wrestler. That movie's from like September
or something.
Yeah. I saw the movie. I thought it was funny. I thought it was stupid. What the hell is that movie still doing here in December when this awesome movie, Silver Lining Playbook, probably OG, when I walked out of that movie, I said, that's my favorite movie of the year to Cheryl. And you know what? Here, a week later, I still think that's my favorite movie of the year. I would have
sounds like a letter's coming.
I'm gonna say, dear Cinemark, you gave me the wonderful opportunity to go to AMC theaters to see this movie. I'm becoming the angry old man, you know. But Silver Lining Playbook, a clear thumbs up for me. Bradley Cooper there is a guy who's haunted by mental illness, meets a woman who also has mental health problems, and the two of them, you know what? The story, if I tell you the story is just a straightforward, formulaic, boring. This is not about the story. It's about the characters. Because Bradley Cooper is fantastic, saying, I'm not going to apologize for Ernest Hemingway, you know? And Robert De Niro is this dad who has this obsession with the Philadelphia Eagles. And so all of these characters are bigger than life, and it's a really fun film. Silver Lining Playbook, if you get a chance to see that, please do. That's the end, isn't it? I got nothing else on my sheet, OG.
Thankfully. No, I mean, that's too bad.
Isn't it? We could go for hours and hours.
Not talking about anything important, though. We could BS for a couple hours.
2013. We've got a lot of big stuff coming up.
Yeah. The website should be good. We got a couple new projects coming.
Yep.
Interesting projects.
2 specific ones that we can talk about in a very generic way. We do know that how about that, huh?
Very specifically. Wait, I'm going to tell you very specifically how generic I can be.
Wasn't that great?
This cool thing.
Wasn't that great how good I got at PR doublespeak all my time in the media? I can very generically talk about very specific things. Mm-hmm. Yes, we are going to change something.
Things are going to be different.
The website will be getting a facelift in 2013. We can confirm that. And then the second thing is we will start having webinars based on our areas of expertise. And those webinars are going to help people that need a little more than they get from just going to the website. Certainly we'll have all the cool free information at The Free Financial Advisor, since that's our name. We'll have a ton of that there, but we're also going to have a step up coming for people that want a little more hand-holding.
That'll be fun.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it, OG. Well, let's go upstairs with Mom and Dad and join the party.
Kids champagne.
Woohoo! Happy New Year, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, I think it'll be fun, but probably not appropriate for the regular show, but for our super secret portion of the show here, the after show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's, and by the way, if you're brand new to the after show, this is the part that we don't talk about, the part that doesn't exist. You are not allowed to tell your friends about it. Do not talk about the after show. What happens in the after show, G, stays in the after show.
But so today's my birthday, and my wife made these chocolate cupcakes. So she makes the world's greatest chocolate cake, and we've decided that it's so much easier for the kids and everything just to make cupcakes than it is to make like a cake, and then to cut up the cake. You just give a kid a cupcake, and they're all sitting there, and I have yet to have one, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to make it another few minutes.
Those babies are going down.
Yeah, down the hatch. Yesterday I went out for dinner by myself because I had a long, crappy day, and went out with some friends, and I got 2 chocolate lava cakes for dessert.
Oh, 2?
So I had,
with a side of Tums?
They were small. What's that? The side of Tums? No. I had lamb chops and broccoli, and then 2 chocolate lava cakes. They're only probably like 2 inches across, so they're kind of small. Little scoop of chocolate ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
So I ate it, and the waitress comes back. She goes, how's everything? And I said, that's fine. I said, can I have another one of these? She goes, what's that? Can I have another one? She's like, was something wrong with this one? I'm like, well, yeah, it's gone. I would prefer to have another one. So she had to call the kitchen because they're like, no mistake, table number 3 wants another chocolate lava cake.
So we're sitting here on the New Year's episode. I'm sure people listen to this, they have just minutes to go until the ball starts dropping in Times Square. 9, 8, you have any awkward New Year's moments?
I've got one that's a little off color. When I was a kid, it's not terribly bad, but it's irresponsible. But I was like 13, so what are you going to do? My parents were having a New Year's Eve party at their friend's house. And somehow I talked my mom into letting me go to my friend's house. But he, in turn, was going to his friend's house. So I ended up at another party, basically. And I'm like 7th grade or something. The group of people that were having this party were clearly high school, early college kids.
Oh, no.
So they were partying like seniors in high school or freshmen in college. And they might not have been that old, but to a 13-year-old, it certainly seemed that way. So there's a little peer pressure going on. So I succumbed to the peer pressure of the New Year's Eve party. Somehow in that process, I got sucker punched. So I had a big shiner, huge shiner, right? So eventually it's time to go home, right? So, so I called my mom and I said, hey, it's time for you to come pick me up. Embarrassing thing number 1, right? Or probably number 6. But my mom shows up. She's kind of upset because I'm not at the place where she left me. I come running out. Now, I am pretty hammered for a 13-year-old. I come running out this door and I'm doing the sideways run. When you do the dizzy bat thing. And you're trying to run the bases.
Oh, no.
So I'm doing the sideways run, and I can't understand why my mom's car is getting further and further away as fast as I'm running. I should be closing. Bam! Right into the car. Full speed.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I played it off for a little while, and then finally I think my mom figured it out, and then the next day wasn't pleasant because I was like, I'd never had any, alcohol in my entire life.
Yeah,
so
right.
whatever I had, 2 glasses of champagne or something, and I probably, I don't remember all the details, but I remember that I felt like such an ass at my parents' friend's party. I mean, I was a drunk 13-year-old, and I could tell my parents were embarrassed, and I felt like bad, and it was very embarrassing.
Oh, that's horrible.
I don't think my mom remembers it, but
I get a headache just thinking about that. And I imagine your mom gave it to you pretty hard, too, afterwards.
Yeah, they kind of let it go, as I remember, but maybe not. I can't exactly remember how it all, that was 13 was a long time ago. So
yeah,
but
you're an old man now, birthday boy.
Anyway, yep.
That's my awkward New Year's moment happened
waiting for your child to leave
just after college, and my brother and I were disc jockeys together, and we got this Bar and Nightclub magazine, and it was one of the few New Year's Eves that we had taken off specifically because we had done so many New Year's parties together for like 4 or 5 years in a row. For then, like you said earlier in the show, that's a long period of time, you know. So we wanted to actually have a New Year's where we got to hang out and party. So, well, we also had these DJ magazines, and in the back they had all these cool stuff for the bar. And so you always had these new drinks. Well, there was a drink called a Blue Motorcycle, and it had
Yumbo. It's gasoline flavored.
Grand Marnier, Blue. What's it called? Blue Curacao.
Curacao, yeah.
Hawaiian Punch. Think of just fruity stuff, and it tasted like you were drinking a fruit drink. And this thing was all alcohol with just a little bit of the pineapple and a little bit of the Hawaiian Punch. And my girlfriend, who is now my spouse, said that this is the embarrassing New Year's moment. All of a sudden, my brother Tony and I, we're gone from the party. We're just gone. Can't find us anywhere. No idea. Look outside of our apartment window. Here's my brother and I in the parking lot, hugging and crying.
I love you, man.
Oh, man, I love you.
I love you. I love you, man.
I woke up the next day with a splitting headache, and I don't remember any of that. She's like, yeah, you and your brother are just hugging each other and patting each other on the back, and just she's like, it was pretty bad.
Isn't it funny how times change? You know, on New Year's Eve this year, we've got some friends coming over, but they're bringing their kids. You know, I mean, it's like it's a kids' party for the 5 and 6 year old.
And that's funny because our friends all have kids like ours that are older, except there's one that has a younger child that will have a babysitter elsewhere. But it's just the parents getting together to play games. We're actually going to have a Ticket to Ride party. We're going to just have a dinner together, play Ticket to Ride. We have about 10 people, so we'll have 2 tables of Ticket to Ride, and we'll just keep changing up the tables, and then come up with some championship kind of thing. Should be a good time.
Yeah, fun. We I'm gonna have to pick your brain and pick up another party game because we've got Ticket to Ride Jamaica, which is fun, and Pony Express and Things. So we've got those 4, and we'll have 6 adults. So we're doing the same thing. Have dinner at our house, and the kids won't eat anything. They'll run around and eat cookies and horse around with one another, and that's our plan. So,
well, speaking of that, man, let's get to our parties.
All right.
All
Happy
right.
New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
See you next year.
Woohoo.